Welcome to today's video. In this discussion, we'll explore one of the most pivotal figures in Chinese history, Confucius, and the unique journey his legacy has taken in the People's Republic of China (PRC). From reverence to rejection, Confucius has been both celebrated and contested in modern China, often reflecting the changing political and ideological landscapes of the country. Let's dive in. Confucius, or Confuci, was born in 551 BCE and became one of the most influential philosophers in Chinese history. His teachings focused on morality, social harmony, respect for tradition, and education. For centuries, Confucianism served as the cornerstone of Chinese society, influencing everything from family dynamics to governance. But what happened to Confucius' ideas in modern China, especially after the founding of the People's Republic in 1949? How did a philosophy that once dominated Chinese life come to be both embraced and vilified? Let's take a closer look at the political and social dynamics that shaped Confucius' reputation over the decades. Confucius' legacy began to shift in the early 20th century. During the collapse of the Qing dynasty and the subsequent rise of the Republic of China, intellectuals began to challenge traditional systems of thought, including Confucianism. The May 4th movement in 1919, a cultural and intellectual revolution, marked a turning point. Thinkers like Chen Duxiu and Lu Xun criticized Confucianism for being antiquated, oppressive, and hindering China's progress into modernity. They argued that Confucian ideas about hierarchy, family loyalty, and submission to authority were holding China back from developing into a modern, democratic nation. Confucius, once a revered figure, was now seen as a symbol of the feudal past. In the years that followed, his influence waned significantly as China grappled with new political ideas, Western-style democracy, Marxism, and nationalism. But the question of Confucius' relevance remained unresolved. Then came the rise of the Communist Party under Mao Zedong. The founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949 marked a drastic shift in the country's political landscape. Mao and the Communist Party sought to completely overthrow the old feudal structures of Chinese society, and Confucianism, often associated with these structures, was one of the first targets. During the Cultural Revolution 1966-1976, Mao launched a campaign to eliminate the so-called four old customs, old culture, old habits, and old ideas. Confucius, as the embodiment of traditional Chinese thought, became a major target. His image was publicly vilified, and his teachings were deemed reactionary and backward. Monuments to Confucius were destroyed, and Confucian scholars were persecuted. Mao's aim was to completely sever the links with China's past and create a new, revolutionary identity based on Marxism, Leninism, and Mao's thought. Confucius, once the embodiment of China's moral and philosophical foundation, was now labeled as a symbol of bourgeois oppression. His legacy, deeply rooted in concepts of hierarchy, filial piety, and order, was incompatible with the radical ideals of the Communist Party. During this period, Confucius was publicly portrayed as an enemy of the people. After Mao's death in 1976 and the end of the Cultural Revolution, China underwent a period of intense political and economic transformation. Under Deng Xiaoping, China began to open up to market reforms and, slowly, some of the harshest anti-Confucian policies were reversed. However, Confucius was not immediately embraced. The party remained wary of his potential to challenge communist ideology. In the 1990s, as China's economy rapidly grew, there was a renewed interest in Confucianism, though it was now viewed through a more pragmatic lens. The government began to acknowledge Confucius' role in fostering social harmony and national unity. By the 2000s, Confucius was being branded not as a symbol of feudalism, but as an ancient philosopher whose ideas could support modern economic and social development. His ideas on education, morality, and respect for authority began to be promoted once more, albeit in a way that aligned with the priorities of the Communist Party. Today, Confucius has even been elevated on the global stage, with Confucius Institutes established worldwide to promote Chinese culture and language. The Chinese government has leveraged Confucianism as part of its soft power strategy, promoting him as a cultural ambassador and a symbol of stability and wisdom. However, the revival of Confucius in modern China is not without controversy. Critics argue that the government's use of Confucius is largely instrumental, less about honoring his philosophical legacy and more about promoting an ideology that supports state control. Some see Confucianism's emphasis on hierarchy, respect for authority, and social order as a tool to reinforce the Communist Party's hold on power, rather than a call for moral or ethical reflection. Additionally, there is the question of how Confucianism fits into the current Chinese political landscape. The CCP emphasis on Confucian ideals often overlooks the more radical and reformist elements of Confucian thought that encourage the betterment of society through education, self-cultivation, and the promotion of moral virtue. Critics argue that by co-opting Confucius, the government is distorting his teachings for political gain. From being vilified during the Cultural Revolution to being rebranded as a symbol of harmony and moral guidance, Confucius' legacy in the People's Republic of China has been anything but straightforward. His teachings have been reinterpreted to fit the political climate of the time, and the controversy surrounding him speaks to the complex relationship between culture, politics, and identity in modern China. Thank you for joining me in today's exploration of Confucius' role in modern Chinese history. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more discussions on history, politics, and philosophy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Confucius' place in modern China. Leave a comment below and let's continue the conversation.